Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Noxie, aka the girl on site, and I hope you guys are good. I hope you're well. I'm on yet another work trip. I'm in Cape Town, and I thought that it would be just a perfect opportunity just to share with you guys about what it's like being a working mom who travels for work, So honestly, when I got back from maternity leave, I obviously was just taking my time to get back into the swing of things. I wasn't gonna get back and immediately start going places. Like, where you going? You just got back. You have to kind of get reacquainted with your projects and what's been going on while you were away. Just by the way, guys, like I feel like maternity leave is crazy. You just disappear from work for 4 months and then you just come back and you just start again. So it's very, very interesting. So there I was just, getting back to work and things like that. And, I told myself, look, I will take my time before I schedule my first trip. Now, when it comes to traveling for work, the only reason I'll travel aside from me planning my own trips is if maybe there's something else happening that requires my agendas. So, of course, now while I'm busy taking my time, a work event was scheduled and it was like, girl, you gotta go. And I was like, oh, my word, because the entire time, I was kind of preparing myself. I was like, at some point, you're gonna travel, you're gonna have to. But I was like, let me just process, being back at work before I start processing traveling. But the moment came and it was like, goodness. Well, thankfully, it was just an event, 1 day thing. So I was going to be able to just travel in the morning and fly back. So I was like, fantastic. This is actually a good springboard to get back into traveling for work, just a in and out trip. And the interesting thing is that I didn't know what to expect aside from, you just think, oh, I'm going to be away from my baby and things like that. But thank God, because it was just the in and out. It's literally just like being at work during the day, except you obviously just get home a little bit later. So now, the routine I have with my son, I breastfeed. So, generally every day before I go to work and before I wake up to get ready for work, I'll feed my son breastfeed, and then I'll get ready for work and then go, right? So similarly, the day I had to travel, I was like, cool, let's have a feed, and then I'll get ready and then go to the airport. Now, with that, for me, obviously breastfeeding, obviously it reduces the pressure in your breast with all the milk and stuff. And then I would pump at work, during the day while if I was at home, I would have been feeding my son, but because I'm at work, I pump. And, it's great to have that kind of supportive environment where you're able to have the privacy to pump and things like that and store your breast milk and all that kind of stuff. So that's all good on a regular day. Guys, traveling for work, I forgot about what that meant in terms of my breastfeeding situation. The moment we took off in the flight, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the altitude, going up and things like that, but all of a sudden, boom, I am feeling super full and it's painful. Anyone who breastfeeds would know that when your breasts are full, it is sore, it is uncomfortable, and it means go pump or go feed your baby. I didn't bring my pump, and I didn't bring it because I knew that it was going to be an up and down kind of day. Like, when on earth are you going to go and pump in the middle of traveling for work? So there I am, literally from the morning, guys, already uncomfortable and feeling pain. So now that was something I didn't expect. My first work trip was spent in discomfort because I couldn't pump, I couldn't do anything. So there I was doing my thing. There I was speaking at the engagement. I was there, and the whole time it was like, it was awful, guys. So that was the one thing. And then, I got through my day. And when it was time to go home, guys, boom, flight delayed. We had a delayed flight, so this was so frustrating because there I was sitting in pain for even a longer period. So I was just like, when am I getting home and when will this pain just leave me? You know what I'm saying? So that was my first work trip and it was in and out. So trust me, when I got home, that was the first thing I did. I just, I first breastfed my son, then I pumped, I was tried, and I was so tired as well. So at some point, all I did was I just reduced the pressure by pumping both sides. And I was like, I'm going to bed. And that's that because I was exhausted. So now it was time for me to schedule my first overnight trip. And guys, obviously, the first thing was just a bunch of mom guilt, being away from my son for overnight and things like that. Like, oh my word, do I really have to? And you think, can't I just do it in one day? And you can't. I'm responsible for the entire Western Cape portfolio. It's not something that you can do in a day, to be going to all these projects and stuff like that. So it's an overnight thing, so I could split it over 2 days. So it was just one of those things. I was like, girl, the time has come and you'll be fine. You just like, look, it is just one day, just manage your expectations, prepare yourself so that it is not that bad. So I decided that I would take my son and his nanny to my mother's house just to also have some added support, with me being away. And I thought it would curb, my absence. Maybe my son would just at least be, surrounded with more people and things like that. And I also told myself, I was like, you're going to miss him. You're going to miss your baby. You're going to feel further away from him, literally, physically, and literally. Like you will be further. And, so I just kept on, it's a mind game, guys, when you just manage your emotions and stuff like that, that's all you could do. And that's what I was doing, right? And I even told myself, I was like, when you miss him, don't phone, you know, because I realized that that's going to settle my missing him, if that makes sense. I miss my son, let me phone, let me video call, and let's see how he's doing. That'll settle me. But I realized that that actually might be worse off for my baby. Now he'll see that I'm not there and he'll realize, my absence. So I decided that I wasn't going to do that, right? All of a sudden now my brother, oh my word, and I realized I forgot to tell them that this is what I decided. Like, I don't want my baby to realize my absence. While they were busy babysitting and stuff, my brother tells me that, oh my word, we showed him a picture of you and he lost his mind. My baby just started crying. And I was like, why did you do that? I really didn't want him to feel my absence. So that was one thing that really hurt. I was like, oh, my little man. And then obviously as the day was going by, you're just thinking about your baby and, there you are, you're done with your working day, you're back at the hotel. I packed my pump this time. So that was the first thing I did when I got to the hotel. I just sat, I pumped, used the bar fridge to just store the milk. And my mom gave me this like little medic pack, these like coolers which keep medicine cool. But obviously I was using it to keep my breast milk cool because I realized that when you check out, the time between you checking out and you actually going onto your flight, it's a couple hours. So that's why I needed that pack to keep the breast milk cool. But yeah, there I was, just the end of the first day, and I'm there in the hotel, busy pumping. I've rested up, I've had dinner, taken a shower and things, and then it hit me, guys. That was the first night I'd ever slept alone since getting birth, and at the time my son was 7 months. Yeah, 7 months old, and I was like, for 7 months, I've not slept one night alone, and I've not slept a full night, like literally, like a good 7 hours. I have never slept a full 7 hours since getting birth. And I was like, whoa, I actually needed this. Like that one night of sleep was life changing, guys. Because when you've got a baby, I mean, because I breastfeed and stuff, I'm up in the night, feeding my son and nursing my son, things like that. And, it'll be, I think I get little bursts of sleep. I'll get like 2 hours, on a good night, I'll get 3 hours and then my son wakes up and then get another 2 hours and then he'll wake up and stuff, whatever the case may be. But that work trip was the first night I got a full, whether a 7 hours sleep. I couldn't believe it. Guys, I woke up the next day like a new person. I woke up like a new person. I was just like, oh my gosh, guys, the sleep deprivation associated with having a newborn and a baby and things like that, it is something that I actually have been struggling with. I feel like that's the one thing I didn't prepare myself for when I had a baby. When you tell yourself, you're having a baby, you're pregnant and things, you're going to give birth. That's the one thing I neglected to plan and prepare myself on. So sleep deprivation has been a massive struggle for me. So that's why when this work trip granted me the first full night of sleep I've ever gotten in 7 months, I was just like, you know what? This is definitely the silver lining. I was like, this is definitely the silver lining. I miss my baby, but I needed this. So that was amazing. And let me tell you this, guys, the days following my trip, I won't lie, they felt so much like they felt more different because I had gotten sleep. And that actually made me realize that I needed to start figuring out how I was going to manage my sleeplessness, with being a new mom. So that's a story for another time. We'll chat about that, especially because, a couple people have let me know that, hey, how has your postpartum journey been? How's being a new mom and things like that. So if you're interested in that, I'll definitely speak about it in an alternative segment because right now we're talking about work travel. So now there I woke up and everything, there's time to check out. First you obviously had breakfast and things. Now there's time to check out. Packed all the milk that I'd pumped into the medic bag. I had my few site visits, went straight to the airport and I was like, perfect, I'm finally going home to my baby. Boom, delayed flight. Guys, you all, I don't know who's been traveling recently, but I think there's something going on because this was now the second trip I'd taken in the space of a month. And again, I got hit with a delayed flight. Like I was losing my mind. I was like, why does this keep happening? So there I am with my breast milk and I'm at the airport. I'm like, you know, so then I went to the slow lounge because, of course, where else are you going to burn time than to go to the lounge, and be comfy? So then at the lounge, I was like, oh my gosh, like, could I ask these people to put my breast milk in the fridge? And I did it. I'm like, no, this is my baby's milk, guys. Like, breast milk is literally like liquid gold. So for me, I don't play when it comes to my breast milk. I'm like, this is not going to go to waste. It's there in the medic pack. It's nice and cool. But with us being delayed another 2 hours, I think it's best it goes back in the fridge. So I had to ask one of the people at the slow lounge, like, hi, would you mind please putting this in the fridge? And thankfully they obliged and I chilled. I sat until it was finally time to take off. And I went home. So yeah, guys, that was my first overnight trip as well as the previous first day trip. And, now, being on another trip, it's something where I'm just like, this is, my son has to then understand that he has a mother who travels for work. And as much as mom guilt will hit you every now and then, you're not with your son, like, oh, you're a night away from your son and things like that. I was just like, one night is not going to do anything. He is perfectly fine. He is well looked after and cared for. And, I know he feels my love from however far away I might be from him. And as soon as I get back home, we're reunited again and everything is fine. So it's one of those things where you have to just condition your mind and let yourself know that it's okay. It's okay. Nothing bad is going to happen because you have to travel for work and be away from your child. So it's difficult and I'm glad that for now it hasn't been anything more than just an overnight. And I don't know what I'd do for just anything more than that, but I guess I'll figure it out if the time ever comes. So I'd love it if anybody would just, share their experiences about being a mom who has to be away from their child in bits and pieces and things like that. Like how do you manage and how do you also just psychologically as well, while you're missing your child and being away from home, but being at work while you're traveling. I am at work, even though I'm in a different city and I'm getting stuff done. So you have to make sure that your mind is in the right place, that you're focusing on what you need to get done, as opposed to, really dealing with the internal battle within you about being away from your baby. So, yeah, guys, I think with that being said, let me just leave it here. I like to keep my episodes short and sweet so that we don't go on and on forever aimlessly. But I hope that this was helpful and interesting in terms of anything you wanted to know about being a mom who travels. But let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know. Obviously, hop in the comments. I'll be right there to respond. And yeah, guys, hope you're well. Keep well. Please like, subscribe, and share the content. And yeah, I'll be back soon. Bye.